This video is on limiting reactants and excess reactants. So before we can start, there's some new vocabulary that we need to know. The limiting reactant is the reactant that gets used up first, is going to limit the amount of product made. And the excess reactant is the reactant that is not used up or excess is left over. So if we run a reaction and we have A plus B makes C and D. If we don't have exactly the right ratio of A to B, one of these reactants is going to get used up first and then limit the amount of product we made. Because after we run out of one of our reactants, we can no longer make the product because I need both to make my products. So this is looking at which one of my two reactants limits the amount of my product that I can make. Okay. Now the theoretical yield is the amount of product that is theoretically made from my limiting reactant. So theoretically, I could only make so many grams of C because I've used up all of A. When we do this, if we follow a couple steps each time, we're going to get the right answer. So if we follow these steps where we choose one of the products, it doesn't matter which one, but we choose one of the products, we're going to use stoichiometry to convert each of our reactants to grams of the chosen product. So I'm going to go A is going to go to C, and B I'm going to convert to C to see which one of my two reactants makes less of my product. Because if it makes less of C, it also is going to make less of D. So it doesn't matter which one we choose. The reactant that makes the smaller amount of product is called my limiting reactant, which I label LR. The limiting reactant makes the theoretical yield, which I can abbreviate TY. And my other reactant is the excess reactant, or ER. So let's put this into practice. I want to know the theoretical yield of silver chloride. So let's go ahead and find silver chloride here. When 3.0 grams of calcium chloride are reacted with 3.0 grams of silver nitrate. Identify the limiting reactant, theoretical yield, and excess reactant. Well, my first step, it says choose one of the products. Well, my problem has already chosen one for me. Then use stoichiometry to convert each reactant to grams of chosen product. So each reactant, I have calcium chloride, needs to get converted to silver chloride, and silver nitrate needs to get converted to silver chloride. So I have one in two different problems. So first, I'm going to take my 3 grams of calcium chloride and my second one is my silver nitrate. I have 3 grams of silver nitrate. I need to convert that. So if we're going from grams first have to go to moles. So grams CaCl2 have to go to moles CaCl2. From moles, drop down. From moles of one, I can go to moles of the other. So I have to go to moles of silver chloride, crossing my mole-to-mole bridge. And then from moles of silver chloride, I can then go to grams of silver chloride. I had the same kind of setup for my silver nitrate. Grams drop down. Grams silver nitrate. From my grams, I go down to moles. So to moles of silver nitrate. From moles, drop down. Moles silver nitrate. I can go from moles of silver nitrate. Now I'm crossing my bridge to moles of silver chloride. And then finally, moles drops down. Moles of silver chloride. I can finally get to grams silver chloride. Okay, now I can go back and fill in my numbers. Grams to moles, I use my molar mass. The molar mass here is 111.1. Moles to moles, I knew the molar ratio. Imaginary 1 here. 1 mole calcium chloride for every 2 moles of silver chloride. Molar mass again, moles to grams. For every 1 mole of silver chloride, I use my molar mass of 143.3 grams of silver chloride. For the next one, grams to moles, so that's for every 1 mole. Grams, so my molar mass 169.8. Here I have moles to moles, so I use my molar ratio. 2 moles silver nitrate, 2 moles of silver chloride. Here my units are different, so that means I have 1 mole. My grams, same as up here, 143.3. So now I do my math. Multiply across the top and divide by the bottom. I get 7.7 grams silver chloride. And I multiply across the top and divide by the bottom. I get 2.5 grams silver chloride. Now, if I remember, the reactant that makes the smaller amount of product is the limiting reactant. So the smaller amount of product made is here. And that was made by my 3 grams of silver nitrate. So my silver nitrate is my limiting reactant. My limiting reactant makes the theoretical yield. So this is my theoretical yield. That means the other reactant is the excess reactant. So my calcium chloride is the excess reactant. And that means that I can never really make my 7.7 grams because I'd run out of my silver nitrate first.